Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist to the Abyss, and you're watching my review for the Irregular Magic High School episode 21. Alright, and it starts off with preparations for the thesis competition. That's pretty much it. They're trying to make sure that everything works so that their theories are all correct and they have models to use during the presentation and all that stuff. And Chiaki, she tries to make sure that everything doesn't work. She tries to screw things up, alright? But she fails because she gets spotted because she is just very, very bad at hiding. Okay? We saw it before, we saw it last week, we're seeing it again this week. She just cannot hide. She can't do it. She just can't, alright? She needs to go study from freaking Waldo or something. From Where's Waldo, or freaking Pandora from freaking the DC character. She needs to take lessons from someone because right now things are just not working out. All right, so she ends up running off, and then Sayaka, Kirihara, Erika, and Leo end up going after her. All right, and once they catch up, Sayaka tries to use her own story of how she was used by terrorists in order to try and sway Chiaki. However, Chiaki says, I already know I'm being used. I don't care. I have a goal, and they are going to allow me to accomplish that goal because it also happens to help them as well, But other than that, I don't really want anything else, so it's fine. I don't care if they use me. And then in the light novel, she added in another line where she said, "Wait, don't tell me you were working with terrorists and you didn't realize you were being used. I hate to break it to you, senpai, but you're not very smart." All right, so in the light novel, she just did not care. She just went and insulted Sayaka, right, which is kind of funny, all right. But anyway, she ends up trying to get away from all of them, but Leo ends up taking her out. Boom! You can see her head hit the ground too. That looked like it hurt. All right. But anyway, they take care of Chiaki, and then we see back on campus. Erika and Leo are back now, and Sekimoto just starts arguing with them, And it's, this dude, he's saying it's because they're in the way, but in reality, he's saying it because they're weeds, pretty much. And that's why, because instead of referring to them as these students, he referred to them as these Course 2 students, which means that was the most important part of what he was saying, Just call them students. You don't need to refer to them specifically as Course 2 unless that's the thing that you're having an issue with. All right, so this dude is just not a very good person. All right, he's not a very good person, and that's probably why when he went to go look at the plans for the thesis competition, Susan A just turned the tablet off. I was like, no, no, all right, big X, all right, you're not getting a look at any of this, all right. But it was actually kind of suspicious though, because before he went over to look, he was like looking around to make sure no one was watching him. Then he went to go peek. All right, so that's kind of suspicious. And he got Tatsu's attention too, because Susan ended up sending him away. And as he was walking away, Tatsu was just staring at him. So that's suspicious. All right, that's actually kind of suspicious. Yeah, that was all we really got for Sekimoto though for the rest of the episode. So I mean I guess we'll have to wait till later to find out if that happened for a reason, probably, but you never know. I don't really remember. I didn't even remember Sekimoto until this episode. So I think I know what happens, but I'm not really sure. So I'm on the border here. I don't know whether he's important or not. I would assume so, but I don't know. Chiaki, yeah, back to Chiaki. So Chiaki tried to escape the nurse's office, but clearly that wasn't going to happen because this girl's got her in a freaking armbar. All right, Dr. Asuka. And you'll see when I put my live reaction about this that I didn't actually recognize the nurse, and that's because she wasn't in the light novels. Okay, in the light novels, the doctor there was Satomi Yasuyado. Satomi Yasuyado. Okay. And she also talked about how she wasn't skilled with combat or anything like that. However, when Kennen and Isori actually went back to the nurse's office, they saw that rather than having her in an armbar, she actually had Chiaki tied down to the bed. Okay. And she was like, oh, well, it's true I'm not good in combat, but this isn't combat. This is just nursing. All right, so that was actually kind of funny. But they end up Ken and Annie. Sorry, I mean they end up questioning Chiaki, and that's when we get the big reveal that she's Hirokawa's sister, which as long as you, I kept saying, remember Hirokawa, okay? So if you remember Hirokawa, then you heard earlier in the episode them say she was Chiaki Hirakawa, then you should know, okay, that they're probably sisters. Unless you're Ichijo Masaki and you just don't make the connection when two people have the same last names, but you know, whatever. Um, anyway, her sister got all messed up because she blamed herself for what happened to Kobayakawa, alright? And she blames Tatsuya for that because she she says that he left Kobayakawa for dead. No, I don't even need to look this up because I clearly remember Tatsuya going over there to help. I'm pretty sure he did. He went over to help someone. I'm pretty sure it was Kobayakawa. As soon as she fell, he went over and tried to help her. Or was it Mari? No, okay, actually, it was probably Mari. Now that I'm thinking about it. Oh well, not a big deal. The point is that she was already she was actually safe. They had magic kicking to protect her from hitting the ground, you know. So leaving her for dead isn't exactly a good way to put it. But whatever. The point is that she just does not like Tatsuya to the point where she just wants to hurt him, but she realizes the gap in skill between the two, so she's actually willing to settle for just inconveniencing him pretty much. She just wants to make things inconvenient for him at the very least. Okay, if she can hurt him, then awesome, but at the very least, she wants to inconvenience him so that she can feel as though she did at least something to him, you know? Um, and then she goes on to explain why she's mad at Tatsuya. She says that she blames him for not catching the golden electronic silkworms inside Kobayakawa's CAD, and Isori tried to say like, oh well, I mean, Tatsuya didn't catch it, but neither did I. You know, it's the entire team is at fault. You can't just blame him. But she says, no, 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 no. You aren't good enough. She essentially says you're not good enough to catch it. All right, Tatsuya is, and he didn't. All right, but I mean, I'm thinking like, well, what do you expect him to do? Like, do you expect him to check every single CAD? Like the engineers themselves are going to go get them checked, and Tatsuya says, no, 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 let me check that first to make sure you actually did it right. Okay, you know, that would just be insulting. You know, that would be insulting to all the other engineers. And Tatsuya just says, you know, well, let me take a look to see if you did your work right. All right, so that's just ridiculous. All right. It was explained a little bit better in the light novel though, because Chiaki actually added more to it. She said that Tatsuya wouldn't lift a finger to help if it doesn't pertain to himself or his sister, and that even though he can do anything, he chooses to do nothing. And then she says that, you know, oh, that must be, she starts getting crazy at this point. She says, oh, that must be it. He must be laughing at the fallacy of others. In reality, he must be able to freely wield magic, but intentionally tank his scores to be a Course 2 student, so he can trample the pride of Course 1 and 2 students and ridicule them. That must be it. That guy is just like that. So like she started to just get crazier and crazier and make less and less sense as she goes on. She starts off kind of reasonable, but then she just goes off. Which it is reasonable to think that first part though, because in the beginning of the series, Tatsuya was like that. He said it, right? He said it in the Roman arc. He said, "My biggest priority is protecting myself and Miyuki. That's my top priority." Right? However, he's developed as a character to the point where he actually does care about other people now, like Kazuma pointed out in the 9 schools competition after he gave advice to Mikihiko. And Kazuma was like, the Tatsuya I used to know wouldn't have cared enough to give this kid advice and try to help him improve, you know? So Tatsuya has progressed as a character to the point where that's not exactly true anymore. And you know, in episode 1, he was afraid of what Mizuki would, if he was afraid of Mizuki finding out some of his secrets. So he was like giving her all these like death stares and stuff to the point where Mizuki got a little scared and like backed up, you know. So, and he doesn't do that at all anymore. So clearly he's progressed as a character to the point where he actually does care about people now. All right, so that's just ridiculous. So as you can tell, she just went on and it just got stupider and stupider. What she was saying, it just made less and less sense. All right. Now after this, we get the serious side of Erika as promised in the title. Okay. Erika ends up taking Leo with her back to the Chiba residence to train. All right, and on the way there, she tells Leo that they can't leave everything to Tatsuya. Right? They have to help out in some way. However, in order to do that, they need to do some training because they do have something lacking, especially Leo. Okay, and this actually develops Erika's character because it shows how she does in fact realize the severity of the situation. Okay, like she's not taking those what's the dude's name, Marshall, Jiro Marshall, I think his name was. That dude, she's taking those threats seriously. Like she's not just ignoring it. People like Mizuki are still like living normal life. They don't even. She probably forgot by now. She's not. She hasn't. She wasn't affected by that at all. Neither was. No, never mind. Honoka and Shizuku. Or do they know? They actually, to this day, they might not have ever known. Actually, I was hoping that they would have eventually figured it out, but maybe they didn't. Shizuku and Honoka, I would have to assume they knew. I would have to, because they're Course 1. They're actually good. They're, like, legit good. I would have to assume that they knew, but I don't know. Mikihiko, I'll use Mikihiko as an example. He hasn't been freaking out at all, even though he was involved in the whole thing, So, he wasn't actually out there, but he was still involved, and he still knew that they were attacked. Alright, so he might not have heard the threats that, like, Erika and Leo did, but he still knows that they were attacked. Alright, and he's not freaking out at all. But Erika, she actually understands the severity of the situation, and she also realizes that they will need to be prepared to kill. Right? She realizes that she knows, like, all right, we're probably going to have to. These aren't fights that we can do where we hold back and still win. We have to go in there prepared to kill if we have any shot of winning. All right. However, Leo, she has her own techniques where she can just just take heads, all right? But Leo doesn't have any techniques like that. He doesn't have any techniques that are specifically for killing, right? All he does is try to beat people up, and that's not good enough. You need to actually have a killing blow, all right? So she wants to teach Leo some moves that could be used for that. And this also develops Leo, too, actually, because he didn't flinch at all when she was telling him this, So that means he understands the severity of the situation, too. Which, Leo doesn't come off as, like, the most intelligent character, but he still is, like, he's not stupid, okay? He's actually, he's actually aware of everything going on, so that's good. And they make it to the Chiba residence, and he's going to learn from Erika, and swordsmanship, he's going to learn swordsmanship from Erika, and he's going to master the secret sword, Saba Kagero, alright? And they're going to try and help out and take on the Great Asian Alliance. However, doing that would require them to actually search for them. So they decide no, instead of doing that. Because Erika brought this up, the concept of being a bodyguard. So you know how Tatsuya said he didn't want any bodyguards? Well, Erika and Leo are going to approach Tatsuya now, as was hinted at here, and pretty much just ask to be his bodyguards. That way they can use Tatsuya as bait to draw out the enemy, because they're going to be going after Tatsuya anyway. Alright? So they're going to use Tatsuya as bait to draw out the Great Asian Alliance so they can help out and take them on and take them out. Alright, so yeah, that's that. We saw this short scene of Tatsuya's group minus Erika and Leo, but with Isuri and Kanon. They're talking about Chiaki, and Tatsuya just says, let her go, let her be, let her do whatever she wants, alright? Not like she's going to do anything to him anyway. She can't. Like I said in my live reaction, this girl doesn't even know how to hide the right way. How is she going to do something to Tatsuya? She's not a big deal. All right. She literally can't do anything right. So I'm not worried about her, and neither is Tatsuya. Right. He does mention that he's aware of the fact that someone else has been lurking around them too. I wonder who it is. Who's lurking around them? All right. And you know the weird thing? For some strange reason, I have this strange desire to talk about Lu Gonghu right now. I don't know why. It's weird, It's weird. But if I'm going to talk about Lou Bell, I might as well bring up the fact that him and Chen had a conversation with Zoe after this, alright? And Zoe said he was going to go and appraise the situation soon, which I took a sneak peek at the next chapter in the light novel that's going to be covered, and I know exactly what's, yeah. Oh man, this next episode is going to be great. You don't even know, alright? This next episode is going to be freaking great. Oh man, yo, these dudes are gonna start making some moves, yo. Oh my god! One of the things that happens next episode, I hinted at a while ago. Um, I don't want to bring it up now though because I hint at a lot of stuff to the point where I practically spoil people, pretty much. But there's so much time in between when I say it and when it actually happens that people don't even remember. So I don't want to bring it up again and then have people start speculating and not be caught by surprise anymore. So I'll just leave it there. Um, so I think the next thing that happened involved, I think that was like the comedy with Erica and Leo being together and stuff like that. And this was funny because Honoka was like, "Wait, you mean those two are alone together?" And Tatsu's like, "Right, yep, they are completely alone together." Like he's just like pushing this misunderstanding just for the heck of it. I thought that was really funny. Then you see Leo walking in on Erica. The um, he ended up getting slapped by her, and he can hear that. That sounded like it was super effective. Like literally, like when you play Pokemon and you do an attack and it's super effective, you know how the sound changes to let you know. It literally sounded like the super effective sound, right? Like it actually sounds like that. And if you don't believe me, wait till my live reaction because I added that little sound bite in there of the actual slap. It sounds exactly like the super effective sound, all right? Um, but one thing they did here was they took out the context. So it just seems like that like Leo just randomly walked on Erica, when in reality what really happened was that Erica and Leo were training. However, Leo has much more endurance than Erica does because of reasons that I don't feel like spoiling, right? If you remember back in my episode 1 review, I said that like there's no one in this series who's like legitimately normal. And Shizuku, or maybe it was episode 2, Shizuku said like that no magicians are normal, and I'm pretty sure in one of those 2 episode reviews I stated like, yeah, there are no normal people in this school. There might be like one, like that's it, because no one here is normal. All right, but let's just say that there's a reason why Leo is just like durable and it has all this endurance and stuff. All right, but he has more endurance than Erica, so she gets tired while he's still ready to go. So she gives him some exercises to do, and then she goes to go take a break. So Leo ends up finishing the exercises. However, he finishes before Erica thought he would be done by. He finished much more quickly than she thought he would. So he ends up walking off and trying to find her, and he ends up running into Erica's sister, who we get a glimpse of here. However, they changed the scene completely because they made it look like Erica's sister liked Leo, when in reality, this girl did not give a crap about him. All right, she didn't give a crap about Leo. She didn't even give a crap about Erica. Right? She acted like dealing with the two of them was a chore, like it was just a pain in her neck. All right, which goes to show you how some people in Erica's family feel about her and how she's viewed. Okay, remember back when Erica was talking with Tatsuya, then she was talking with Mikihiko, and I brought up the fact that she's a disappointment to her family. Well, this is one of the things that helped prove that, because her sister just looked down on her and just did not care about her. All right, and her sister's not exactly the only person in the family that feels that way. Okay, so Erica's a disappointment to the family, and her sister here just completely demonstrated that with the way she acted towards her and her friend Leo. Okay, so I don't really know why they took that out, and they completely changed it to make it look like her sister liked Leo. Like it was stupid. I didn't like that. They should have changed it. The reason they did that probably was because they wanted to make the time out the episode, because they've been going at the pace they've been going at ever since the Yokohama disturbance arc started was 2 chapters per episode. Right, so they've been like cutting things out. But whatever. They skipped the scene with Tatsu and Miyuki too. Tatsu and Miyuki were training with Yakumo, and he ended up giving them advice about the Magatama, and he was telling them, like, you know, you don't want to keep that in your house because people are onto you. Like, you might not realize that they're there right now, but that's because they're really, really cautious, but they are onto you, so you might not want to keep it at your house anymore. All right. So he was like giving them hints and advice and stuff like that, you know, and they also got some training in. You learned a little bit about Tatsu's limits, um, which I don't feel like mentioning now because it's interesting to know, but not really necessary to know. Well, okay, well, I'll tell you anyway. Why not? Um, Tatsuya's decomposition magic that he uses, you know, that whole use to disassemble things and stuff like that. He can use it on multiple targets at once, as he's done in the past. But we learn here that his maximum is 36 targets at once, like shooting 36 things at once. However, those are just like things that are just standing still, or not necessarily standing still, but when it's not live combat, then his maximum is 36 objects at once. However, if it is live combat, then it drops down to 24, which is still very, very good. Because Miyuki was having trouble; she just could not do it, right? But Tatsuya did. But that's because that's what he excels in, you know. Tatsuya is a BS magician, a born specialized magician, and this is his area of expertise. So it's only natural that he'd be better than Miyuki at this. Um, anyway, yeah, that was a scene they skipped, so I can understand why they skipped it. I just think that, you know, Yakumo doesn't exactly get the most screen time, so when he does have a scene, I think it'd be cool to just keep it, you know, but whatever. Especially when it's something like this where he's telling them, like, be wary of, you know, people around your house because they're on you and stuff like that, you know. I just thought it'd be helpful to have that in there. But the scene with Erica's sister, they definitely should not have changed that. I don't know what they were thinking. They shouldn't have changed that at all. All right, but whatever. Uh, anyway, they end up getting back to training, and Leo's trying to replicate the technique that he used during the 9 schools competition with that cloak or whatever, and he could like harden the cloak and use it as a shield and stuff. He's trying to replicate that, but with like this sash strap thing. Okay, so like the kind of thing you'd wrap around the outfit that he had on. I don't know the exact name, you know, but um, you guys know what I mean. Um, whatever. He's trying to replicate the technique with that. And he shows here again, you know, character development for Leia because he knows like when, because Erica was saying, well, maybe we should go ask Tatsuya about it. He says, no, we shouldn't disturb him over something like this. So he knows when he should and when he shouldn't be doing certain things. So that's good. It's a little bit of character development. So he's got street smarts. You know, he might not have all the book smarts, but he's still smart. He's got a brain up there. Okay, so that was a little bit of character development for Leia. But the last thing in the episode is, you'll see in my reaction too. I just did not like this. Okay, Jumonji was doing the training and stuff, and Mikihiko did better than all the Course 1 students pretty much. You know, that part I was fine with. Okay. Because Mikihiko is pretty much a Course 1 student. The only reason he was Course 2 was because he had that accident where he got all messed up and everything, but he recovered from that in the 9 schools competition. So it makes perfect sense for him to be better than some of the fodder Course 1 students. Calling a Course 1 student fodder is kind of weird, but you know, whatever. I had no problem with that stuff. My problem came with the Mikihiko and Mitsuki development here, because it was so cliche and stupid, and I just, ugh. Alright, I just didn't like it at all. I really did not like it at all. Okay. At the end of the episode, we get the suspicious guy walking by. You know, so it's probably another spy for the Great Asian Alliance. It definitely wasn't Chiaki's. It was someone else. Because she got transferred to like some hospital, some university-affiliated hospital, or some crap like that. Who cares about Chiaki right now? Okay. Well, next episode you will. But no, I'm not going any further. I'm not going any further than that. Okay. Well, no, it's not like I said anything big. I still don't care about Chiaki. I know what happens, and I still don't care. But whatever. That's it for the episode, you guys. Next episode is going to be great. I'm calling it now. Next episode is going to be great. We're going to get awesome action in there. Um, One of the characters that I fanboy over the most is going to do his thing. Plus, we're going to get a certain character's return. Zoe's going to, what did he say he was going to do? Like, Zoe said, let me look through my notes here. Whatever, who cares? Appraise the situation. There we go. Zoe's going to go appraise the situation. Okay, so we've got a lot happening next episode. Assuming they put all of Chapter 7 in one episode. Because Chapter 7 is actually pretty long, much longer than all the other chapters, where they put 2 chapters in one episode. So, yeah. Oof. Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. I'm calling it now. It's going to be a great episode. But anyway, as for this episode, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was okay. You know, it was decent. We got that all the Erica and Leo stuff, which was really good. But other than that, you know, Mikihiko and Mizuki, like nah, just forget it. Let's just forget that even happened. Let's just eliminate that from our minds. Like, we need some freaking magic used in our brains to make us forget that crap. Okay, that was bad. That crap was bad. The Chiaki stuff was like kind of good, but at the same time, she went kind of insane at the end. But yeah, whatever. 6.5 out of 10. All right, that's that, you guys. This is actually getting pretty long. And I checked I already have my reaction all edited and stuff, and that's like 15. It's like 15 minutes long or so. So actually, because yeah, I'll just upload it separately. Because every time I say that, I end up uploading it like a week later. But unlike all those other times, I actually have all the work done already. All I have to do is hit render. So it should be, yeah, I'll just upload it separately. Yeah, that's that, you guys. 6.5 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.